Hi, welcome. I'm going to walk you through a couple of priorities when thinking through your email and designing it in a way that is useful and helpful. So, the main four things that we like to think through when we teach email are making sure your email is deliverable, scannable, readable, and prioritized or actionable. So, first off, you just want to think about so much of email and email providers like Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo or all of those things. They are working really hard to keep spammers out of your inbox and my inbox, and I like it that they do that. If somebody sends me a bunch of garbage, I don't want to see it. The problem is a lot of businesses try to send things that are garbage, and so you may have the most beautifully designed email, and you might find that when you send it, your open rates are pretty low because a lot of the things that we're doing inside of those emails are the same things that spammers would do. And so as we think through what would a lot of spam emails do is they would have way too many images or a lot of different images or use their HTML too aggressively to try to insert code and inject all sorts of things into an email. They will have too many links. They would have way too many things for you to click on. If you look at the link per word ratio, that those spam emails have a ton of links. They have way too much spam language, such things like having a sale or free. And so you can avoid, if you have the most beautifully designed email and it doesn't make it to someone's inbox, and even as Gmail has rolled out their priority inbox, which they have a different updates and promotions tab, as they do that, people are getting punished for that. So the first thing we talk about when we talk about emails, it doesn't matter what you're doing or what your brand is. If you can't make it into somebody's inbox, you get into a lot of trouble. And so just do the opposite of what spammers do. It's the reason why it's a good idea to let people unsubscribe from your emails because Google just knows what's going on, right? And so we want to play nice. We want to deliver high quality, meaningful things into people's inboxes that they expect and want and are glad that are there. So as we're thinking through emails, we definitely want to think through visual hierarchy. So we want to make sure that we have big scannable text. The image on the right is a heat map from 300 different users, different people who their eye movements were tracked as they moved through information on a page. And so a lot of this information is also useful when we're thinking through designing our websites. The same thing is true for how we interact with our phones or email inboxes. So if we have images, we want to make sure that we have big scannable text. And if we have readable, a big readable chunk of text, we want to make sure that it's easy for people to read. So using a big scannable text for headlines, and then making sure that we're using a serif body copy. So serifs just allow the eye to be able to move most easily and freely from word to word and letter to letter, using less columns. So the more columns that are in an email, the more our eyes are and our brains are just getting wired to scan through and hop around. And understanding that simple, elegant design is better than stunning, crazy design. If you go do some homework on finding inspirational email designs and things that are designed in amazing ways, there's a lot of very complicated but beautiful imagery and things that are there. But a lot of times that doesn't make it into the inbox of your readers. So just make sure that your visuals are prioritized. The third thing is that it's readable. And so the thing I always like to remind people is that buyers are the ones who read. So sometimes when you see things on the internet that are very long, that are these long-winded Facebook posts or blog posts highlighting a product, and you're like, who the heck reads all of this? Well, the people who read all of it are the people who end up buying from it. And if you think about something that you're very interested in buying, or if you're curious about taking some kind of action and you want to figure out if it's right for you, you end up reading a lot of stuff. If you're buying I just went through the process of buying a printer for our office, and I read a lot of reviews, and I went through and I asked my friends what they thought, and I read all of these opinions. I spent a lot of time reading. And so if you want your users to take action and buy something from you, know that it's worth writing. On the right, in the image on this slide, there's a email from a guy named Jeff Walker who he seems like he invented the idea of launching a online product, and he's got a ton of online resources. They're pretty pricey, but this is just an email that I get, and he is always interesting to me in that he's always telling a story. He always has a font that is a little bit larger than your normal email font. It's a very phone-friendly font. And so it's if somebody's scanning through something on their phone, or a majority of people or your emails are going to be read on a phone, on a mobile device. So just a little bit larger. It makes it a little easier for people to read. The other thing is that it acts like a real email, and it's very human. So what can you do in your emails to people to just act like what they would expect to show up? So these emails from Jeff are just very normal. They read and are formatted the same way when my friends and I email each other, just normal things. And they're very human. It tells a story. They're very human. It's very readable. It's easy to remember. And ultimately what Jeff's trying to do is he's trying to drive his email subscribers to his videos and to his website. And so he understands what he's doing. He has 2 different links, which we'll talk about in the next slide. So very cool stuff. The other thing that Jeff does well is he prioritizes. So understand what your goals are for your audience. And this is kind of as we're talking about making an email actionable. Or prioritize. So know what your goals are and know your people, knows who's reading this. So Jeff does a lot of online videos, and he has links to his online videos. He starts with a clear call to action and he ends with a clear call to action. It's pretty funny, or it's pretty interesting to note that, and this is even true in all of the emails the Wonder Jam sends out, that whatever link we put whatever the very, very last link in the email is, receives a lot more clicks than anything in the middle. So our first link that's listed and the last link that's listed are the 2 that get the most clicks out of everything in an email. And it's pretty normal that is the case with almost everything we send, which is just kind of funny. And you can see Jeff reiterating that here by having he's got an identical link. He's got it twice there. And then just remember that a lot of times, no matter what email client folks are using, some images might not load. And so we've all probably been inside of Gmail and we've seen images that haven't loaded. And, we've seen that they don't make it becomes really frustrating. And so consider that. So even if you have an image that is some kind of a coupon or something you want people to click on, make sure that you also have a text version of that link, or that you mention the link somewhere else. I want to show you a couple of examples of what the Wonder Jam does when we're sending out emails. An example of the back end of a previous email that we had sent. So this was just an update about upcoming workshops that we had at our studio and some other client projects that we worked on. So you can see that you see our open rate comparing 2 different. We A/B tested a subject line that had emojis in it, which we just thought would be fun, or one that did not. So the one that did had a higher open rate, which is great, but then it also had a lot lower click-through rate, which was fun. So sent this to about 1,000 people. You can see the breakdown of links that were clicked in here. So a lot of them being a photo that we took on Instagram. But I want to show you and previewing the W nail bars. upcoming stuff. So I want to show you what this looks like, the actual content of this. And so our emails that we send, so if you've seen them, the emails that we send are very much just words. So this had a lot of links in it. You could see that it had links to podcasts that had dropped recently. So you can see that we had, 31% of 31% open rate. Is that right? 31% open rate. And then if you go to the most recent one that we did, we had a lot larger audience, so 1,200 people, a larger audience, about 200 more people, 38% open rate. Very simple subject line for new things in our world, so we stopped being cute about the whole thing. And you can see the number of people who actually clicked on links when we had a lot less went up pretty dramatically. So 91 people here, 72 people want a Columbus Navigator. Shout out to James, who's in the Diamond membership. Hopefully he's seeing this and he's like, man, the Wonder Jam sent me 70 visitors that day. It's a big bump in his website traffic, I'm sure. That's a joke. James gets plenty of website traffic. So we can look at the content of that email. We can see, again, it's a little bit more simple, a lot less links, but it was opened at a lot higher percentage by more people. So that's something that as we go forward, we're not going to load up so much of the content. What ends up happening to us, and the reason that those two were different, is that the one I showed you before that had all the emojis in it, we hadn't sent an email in a while, really. And if you look at one that we had sent before, which was just us talking about some of our friends, we sent it to a lot more people, 2,600 people. This is us experimenting with different groups. You can see the number of links that get clicked on down here. Maybe more similar to that first one we looked at. If we look at the content, more a pretty nice like text to link ratio, pretty effective, pretty open, and then we kept our classes down here at the end. So that's kind of what we do. If you were like, man, I wonder what these guys do to do their email marketing. I've also got my coffee. I've been running my coffee business through our own email platform, which I'll probably split those up at some point here soon. And I also wanted to give you a better idea of what a well-designed and highly effective email looks like. So this is from our client, Primally Pure. And so you can see they have really subtle designs. They have very nice, readable, it's very scannable. The images are pretty clear. We understand what's going on in here. And you can see, you can just see that this is something where they know what kind of action they want people to take. And these can, because we see the back end of all of this, and it converts well. It generates a lot of sales on the days that they send these out. And they have a pretty decent open rate. They've got people interacting. They have people jumping into giveaways and meeting members of their team. So you can see all that stuff is going on. And so this is simple, easy. And the other thing that's true is Primally Pure invests in this looking as clean as it does. They, for some of the people who are watching this and listening to it, you don't have time to make your emails beautiful. You need to get good content out to people. And when Primally Pure was smaller, they didn't invest in their emails looking clean and gorgeous and beautiful. If you go search the web for amazing email designs, you're going to find a bunch that are put together by a team of designers. And so my guess is, if you're inside of the Diamond membership, you're probably not the person who is going to have a team of designers working on each of your emails. It's why I recommend to so many people to be putting together emails that look a lot more like the ones that we send, because it's easy, quick, and you can get across your point. And I can get people, interacting with the other parts of the website that are actually designed, or I can get them checking out stuff that they're actually doing. So I want you to just think about, as you go through all this, think about what kind of action do you want people to take? Where do you want them to land? What does the website look like once they're there? And then go from there. Would love to see examples in the comments if you've put together something that you're proud of, or that performs well, or that you feel like is making a big difference for you, or if you're like want some feedback from the group. There's plenty of designers hanging out in here, and I'm sure you can get a number of people to help you tweak and come up with and troubleshoot some of your ideas. So excited to chat in the comments, and we'll chat soon. Peace.